Peace, it's good. Going live from Homeland Village in Macon, Georgia, and I got my special guest, Brother Bilal. Y'all seen him before, and my other special guest, Brother Cheikh from the Nation of Gods and Earth. Peace. Assalamu alaikum to you, brothers. How y'all feeling?
Like everything is peace, God.
Peace. Okay, so today we want to just go through a journey through consciousness and a journey through spirituality, right? Brother Bilal.
Peace.
Just coming into the name of Bilal, where did you get that name from? And what does Bilal mean?
I got it from that journey through Islam, but I guess not so much as the religious side of it, trying to figure out what was in it that I could apply to myself to be better through this journey, right? Mm-hmm. And in the story, there's this the character Bilal, the rabbi, or the closest companion of the Prophet Muhammad in the stories and in the Quran, and he went through a lot of similar situations that some of us and our ancestors experienced on the way over here. Some of the over here, enslaved, kind of put in bad, deplorable situations. But what he didn't do, no matter how bad of a situation he was put in, he never forgot his remembrance of Allah or God, and he never forgot where that dwelt at with him. It's like, dang, when I was going through what I was going through, I'm going through some seemingly rough situations, kind of getting a little beat up. Most of it was me beating myself up until, being saved by our brother and sister from the Nation of Islam. They point me to Mosque number 93 down here, and they also prayed with me at the Orthodox Mosque. So kind of got a little, the best of both worlds, so to speak, trending towards the orthodoxy, but there was something applicable in that name. There was something that reminded me of where I came from in that name. It wasn't just like a spiritual attachment to some, I can't explain. I can embody this, bro, because Bilal means one who quenches a spiritual thirst. So when I went off in that, that's exactly what I was doing. I was thirsty. I was thirsty, and I found that fountain. So I'm gonna stand on that name while I drink that water.
Indeed. You know what though? We're gonna go back to something because you said something that I already knew. but we're gonna go back to something. Peace, God. How you doing, brother?
Peace.
With you. How did you come up with the name C Savior, and how do you walk into that name? And was that your first name when you got knowledge?
So that wasn't my first name. I chose the name Islam born Allah for myself. Just going through the mathematics and borning out what Islam mean, and it actually born out to Allah. So it just made sense for it to be Islam born Allah. And at the time, I was just attracted to what Islam meant in our alphabet, and I applied it to myself, and I tried to manifest that in my walk. But as the journey went on, I think it was around the time that I was studying the 1 through 36. And at the time I was in the injustice system, and I was going up to the library at least twice a week, just building with the God that worked up there. And that was my enlightener. So we was just going through some things, and the day I quoted the 1 through 36 on Cap, he bestowed me with the name C Savior, and he gave me a bill to go along with my name. So once I got the bill and I read the bill, and the God was precise with his breakdown. You know what I'm saying? He broke down what C was, what Savior was, and then what Allah meant, and it resonated with me, and I upheld that name ever since.
Indeed, with C Savior, we can find that in the mouth too, right?
In the alphabet.
In the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you was doing that whole walk.
Yeah.
Indeed. You said something and I kind of stopped you when you said you got introduced to a sister or a brother with the Nation of Islam, right? This might be funny between us, but that's kind of like the path of most of us, right? Like it when we getting introduced to our way of life and our way of thinking. That Nation of Islam kind of be just all around the place.
It's the root. It's the root. You gotta get it from somebody that look like you, right? It's the root. It feel better, and you can apply it better when you get it from somebody that look like you. They didn't give you that pale face, blonde hair, blue eyed, buttermilk complexion.
It's the root, but even when we speaking of America, it's the root for America too, because that was the gateway to Islam over here, even with the Orthodox. You know what I mean?
I knew. As soon as you said that, I was like, man, it never fails.
Yeah.
Right.
Elijah is just he just all on us. It ain't nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, right.
It's just all on us. So the first time that you actually, so let me give you a little story about me. When my brother gave me knowledge, right? And then you go through student enrollment and you doing all this and that. Mm-hmm. Hey man, you know you got to go in the house after this, like where your mama at, to where you know where your room at.
Right.
My brother sent me in the house, and I ain't gonna say program or brainwash, but I'm like really in. I'm really zoned out, right? I told my mama my name was Allah.
She kick you out the
in the country, looking at me like I'm crazy. What y'all done gave this boy? What is wrong with him? Talking about he's the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So the first time that you actually told somebody your name was Bilal, and the first time you told somebody your name was See Savior, how did they look at you, and how did you feel when you said, Brother Bilal, I'm See Savior, I'm the God See Savior.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How did that feel though? Because that's like, because once we walk into that name and we take that name, we just gave away our slave name, essentially, right? Or whatever name everybody was comfortable calling us, we gave that up. So when the first time you told somebody that was your name, because you spoken into existence, when you told them, hey brother, what's your name? My name Brother Bilal. The first time you said that, my name is See Savior. The first time you said that, what was that feeling?
It was a powerful feeling. You know,
because you're walking into the name.
Right. My journey started in the injustice system, and just that was part of my attractions to becoming, right? Just hearing the God ciphering and, you know, dealing in equality with the wisdom. But when I actually got the opportunity to come in the name of See Savior, it was a powerful feeling. The flip side of that was, amongst my peers, the mockery. You know, See Savior, you think you God now, and you know all of that. But it kind of like motivated me to stand on my lessons and to find a better format of teaching. You know, because my thing was, and that's probably how I got the name See Savior, from the elder God, but once I got the knowledge, my duty was to save. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought it was. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, at that walking time, around with a name like See Savior.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of showing improvement. That's a lot of showing improvement. That ain't like one of the cute names, Ultramagnetic, Super Cypher God, and all that. Nah, your name is See Savior.
Right.
That ain't like something that you just say, I'm just finna call myself one time. I really got to. Like, I got to walk with this. I got to live with this.
Right. But it also, you know, in the alphabet it says the Savior is the black man who acknowledges himself.
Indeed.
And could save himself.
Indeed.
But, and if you were a Bill Powell or 85er and you thinking about Savior, you thinking about
the white man.
Exactly. You thinking about Jesus Christ, the Savior, to take you away. So you really not thinking about yourself. So when people think about Savior, to me, that's what they think about. You know what I'm saying? They think, oh, you trying to be Jesus and you trying to save everybody, you trying to do all of that. But it's not that. You know what I'm saying? It's me acknowledging who I am to save me. And that same knowledge is what's going to save you.
Forgive them, God. They know not what they do.
Right. That was powerful. Brother Bilal, what was your feeling when you first said, Brother T gone. T, I blade T the rest. I am Brother Bilal. Because, you know, now with your title of Cheikh, that's a whole nother level. But let's deal with my name is Bilal. How did that feel?
You know, when we in meditation right now, and I would ring the bell and you feel the entity on the inside of you jump, but your body don't move. I felt that, except for like it didn't jump. Like it just felt like it got lighter and lighter and lighter, to where like I really couldn't feel this. Really couldn't feel this thing no more. Like, I just said my name. I had a spiritual thirst. Bilal means one who quenches a spiritual thirst, whether it's his or somebody else's. You know, got to be able to do that. And then I came back out from introspection to look at my camp folks running around like, so you don't believe in Jesus no more, huh? Not so now you one of them Muslims. You done took an Arab name.
Right.
And I lead in like that for a reason though, because Bilal's actually an Ethiopian name. Shit ain't Arabic at all. It's Ethiopian, so it's like what Brother P said, your name got to remind you of where you come from, and your name got to remind you of God. My family tree points to our origin over there in the ancient days. That name meant something then, and no matter if they took it from Kemet and applied it to Islam today, the inner meaning still means the same thing.
True indeed. See, now, I really wanted to ask, and I wanted y'all brothers to explain that because, right, while we out in the world, you will catch a teenager, 12 years old, and you ask him what his name, and he says Jack Boy. Or he say Merc D. Like, words is power. Names are powerful. And since we coming into our name, and we basically naming ourselves, or we giving ourselves, or we getting a name from one of our enlighteners, it's kind of like, I don't think the youth understand you calling yourself Jack Boy and you 12 years old.
Right.
Like, that's energy that's not needed, right? So even with our names, and like I said, we'll go to Bilal and see Savior, you know, those are powerful names. Like, so I really wanted to put that out there so the youth who watching, like, don't name yourself Killer B.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be out here being Jack Boy D and all this and that, man. Go and get some spiritual, because words is power. If you don't want to be what your parents gave you, if you don't like Cassius Clay, if you don't want that name, you know, search, dig deep before you just start calling yourself anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like that thing, a mantra, bro. Like, we say positive affirmation to ourselves over and over. We cultivate peace up here in our mind and our heart. But if you repeating a negative name like that, what do you think's happening on the inside of you?
Indeed.
You're telling yourself consciously that that's who you are, and your subconscious can't distinguish whether that shit's actually right or wrong or not. It's always on go, processing stuff. So you gotta make sure you be careful with what you tell your subconscious consciously, because it's gonna listen to it.
Indeed.
And one day that thought's gonna come back up, and it's not gonna be a thought. It's gonna be a full-blown manifestation. So now,
A creation.
that part.
Sure
So now you done did some nigga-ish because your name describes the person that does nigga-ish.
Right.
Indeed. So right now, also, what I really want to show, I have Sheikh Bilal of the Sufi order. And I have my brother of the Nation of Gods and Earths, right? With that, in the journey through consciousness, right? I think a lot of people don't know that you actually have to go through those schools, right? You like, so how was being God body the first school of thought that you went through? The manifestation that you lived in?
So I grew up, I guess you could say, I dabbled in all of the realms of Christianity. I grew up, my grandmother, she was Baptist. On my father's side, they was Episcopalian, so I got a little bit of that. I went to a Catholic school, and then I went to a Lutheran school. So learning all of these different dominations, it kind of like, it put me on the path of becoming with the Nation of Gods and Earth, because seeing these different dominations and these different points of view, it was hard for me to believe. I had to know, like, which one is.
Oh, so you took the belief out, God?
Early. I remember my mom, she put me in, you had to go through a class in order to get confirmation, or something like that. And I questioned the pastor. Like, nah, I don't believe that. It don't sound right. It's not adding up. It's not making sense. And I always been like that. Like, I always been inquisitive because it wasn't aligning with history. You know, my family, my mom, my grandmother, you know, they're into history. So just comparing history into what y'all trying to tell me in these videos and these different movies that y'all got is not adding up. So I always used to question it. Me becoming a part of the Nation of Gods and Earth, It was through the Moors and the Nation of Islam.
So you did the whole walk.
Yeah.
You did the whole walk.
Yeah, because me coming into the lessons was me going to a December fast in the injustice system. I got invited from some Nation of Islam brothers to come to the December fast, and the December fast in prison is it started with the Nation of Islam because you know they fast the whole month of December. So in the prison system, we're able to meet in December to honor the fast. And a lot of different organizations will come to the December fast. The Nation of Gods and Earths, Vice Lords, Gangster Disciples, Conscious, Bloods, you know what I'm saying? All of these different, in honor of their consciousness, paying homage to Elijah Muhammad.
There you go again.
But tapping into everything. So that's when I first really, I heard the wisdom before, but actually hearing the black man is God, or actually hearing the knowledge degree, or actually hearing all of these different things that's inside of the 120. And then I got tapped into my enlightenment, and the rest is history.
Indeed. So, Bilal, the first time you said your first line in Arabic, would it be taking your shahada or saying anything comfortably to yourself in Arabic? How did that feel?
Hey man, I thought I had superpowers, bro. Like real spill, I thought I had superpowers. I was able to take my mind and then not really break it away from the English language, but learn a whole nother language that you have to read from this way to that way instead of how we used to reading over here. And now you don't take letters that are separated individually. You write cursive backwards with Arabic. And there's dots and lines and accent marks everywhere. So, I felt like I had got something archaic. You know what I'm saying? And, it kind of led into, I guess, a deeper study of the Quran, which is, I guess, with my teacher, he wound up giving me the I don't want to say title or rank or anything, but he was calling me Imam Bilal Jallo. Like, an imam is somebody who lead religious prayer. Because at that level, that's kind of, what I was studying. I ain't no man in Allah was one at that point. I might have heard him say it, but it didn't click. We had to go through a lot of that to get to that same point where the next step, belief dead.
Right.
It got to, because if it don't die at that point, you'll never get to Ihsan, what we call Ihsan, but Ihsan is God consciousness.
Right.
And God body. So now when you recite La ilaha illallah, you just said there is no existence but this divine reality that all our black asses is in right now. Right.
But soon as you said that though, soon as you memorized that, like, did it feel like, yo man, I just released everything that was wrong that I had in my brain and I'm going on the right path? Like, do you get that?
It felt like it, yeah. Until, going along a little bit further and realizing you got to dive a little bit deeper. Don't just tread that water at the surface. You gotta
see, but watch this. Since I'm your partner, I already know what you were finna say. Don't go down that hole. It's dirty down there. Don't just be. Don't look down there like that.
Don't see someone quite ready for just yet.
Right.
Indeed. So, like I said, I wanted people to not feel overwhelmed when they going into a new train of thought, or if they have that dream, like people say in the middle of the night, to go this way with their consciousness or go that way. I really wanted to break that ice. I know it could be overwhelming, but we looking at two different schools of thought, and the brothers are not saying that they was overwhelmed. There was actually joy to find out that they was on another path, and that the path that they was on was actually wrong. Right. So with that, see, Savior, that feeling when you completed student enrollment, how did that feel? Like, ooh, I got it on the CLR power. I got it on the CLR power. Like nothing is finna stop me.
For me, it was before that. Like, it was completing my fast in the beginning. That was a struggle for me because it was one of the first times that I ever fasted. And it wasn't just, my enlightener didn't take me through a regular fast where it was just sustaining from food. Like I couldn't talk. You know, he put me on a silent fast, and then he put me on a food fast, and then it was another fast to where, like, anything that I liked, for example, like the equal rule, I had to fast away from that. You know what I'm saying? So it was something that I had to pick. I had to pick something that I liked the most that I had to fast from. I had to silent fast, and then I had to do the food fast. So all of that in the one fast, them first 3 days, when I accomplished that, it felt good. And then
so you would say that those was the first steps, your fasting period.
Yeah.
For you personally.
Yeah.
That fasting period, that's when the energy started rolling.
Right. That's when the momentum picked up. But then when I got the mathematics and my enlightener, everybody around, like, we had a couple of seeds that it was me and like 2 others that was getting the mathematics at the same time. And their enlighteners was giving them like 2-line degrees, you know what I'm saying? My enlightener, he gave me about a paragraph for the God degree, right? So I had to learn that on cap. When I got that God degree on cap, though, God, it just... it was it. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. I mean, I was ready to get in the cipher and start building. You know what I'm saying? So that's what did it for me. And like, you know, before, like, so my enlightener, like, he gave me an opportunity to look through his book of life.
Oh, okay.
Before I even started really tapping into the 120. So to see those long degrees and to know them on and to get them on cap, and then to actually get a degree that you think like it's gonna take me a minute to learn this, and to actually get it, and then to say it back to your enlightener, that's what did it for me, God.
Yeah, I know. It feel like you can pick up 500 pounds. I already know. All right, so with that, also, like I said, just to teach the people in a put them in a certain mind frame. Mm-hmm. Let's go to scholarship for just a minute, right? Because I don't like people when they thinking something is so hard and feeling overwhelmed, right? Naturally, to become a Muslim, you will have to know the Quran, right? And, you know, just be down with what we get down with, the 5%ers. You got to have that 120. Just it don't go without it. You feel me? It's just the base level, right? How much scholarship does it take in the beginning to be a Muslim for Brother Bilal, and was it fun?
That was a point where I felt like it would be overwhelming, but it actually wasn't. Remember that video about taking the Shahada and what happened right afterwards? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what the experience and the blessing happened, because I'm sitting up there and I had just finished saying it, and I'm like, I gotta stop eating. I gotta stop doing this. I gotta stop doing that. Boy, that's a lot. But all of those things just fell off because all the brothers that just was in front of me when I did it was all right here in front of me. We exchanging phone numbers. We getting questions answered. People are giving me books from their library and stuff like that. When you read it and finish, call me and we'll build on it. I ain't just give you the book and let you go in it and think you got it right. You know, iron sharpen iron. Mm-hmm. So them brothers were there to help, and that experience was something that, you know, I didn't get in the church.
Right.
You know, right. I didn't get that in the church. Questions weren't frowned upon. The imam would say things like, "Oh, I love questions." Never heard no pastor say that when I was in the church, even though obviously the oddball inside the mosque, but it was an experience to where I was able to come into something that I felt. And when I felt this thing on the inside, I wanted to figure out what in the world it was, and I never felt it before. Right. And when you come back out and realize what it was, and that shit's in everything else, I don't think human words can do it no justice, man.
Indeed.
You know, to describe that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I feel you on that, man. I feel you on that. So see, Savior, the same thing with you was going through the steps of learning 120, getting that under CLI power. Now, if I can speak for myself, it when you're around a different type of God, that shit could be kind of overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It depends on who you're getting it from, right? And just the cipher of God that's around.
So my thing was with the 120 was staying in the 120, because, you know, when you get through, let's student enrollment, right? It's certain questions that'll take you somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And you start looking into these other things, and then you sway away from 120, and then you just go to the researching a whole bunch of stuff. And that was my problem, like, with the 120. So, you know, my enlightener, he just had me focus on 120. Like, just stay in 120, get 120 on cap. Once you got it on cap, then go back, get it on cap again, and then, you know, get an understanding for yourself and break it down how you need to break it down. But that was my journey. Like, I remember, so around the time that I got mathematics, I got introduced to the autobiography of Malcolm X. I got introduced to the rise and fall of Elijah Muhammad. I got introduced to In the Name of Allah, the book. So, reading all of that, trying to keep up with 120, coming into understanding with myself that I don't know shit. Like,
oh man,
coming
that's hard.
That's hard.
Coming into the point that I was ignorant was, you know, all the fuel and the fire that I needed to just really tap into a lot of stuff, and that brought in the scholars, the Noble Drew Ali's, the Malachi Yorks, the Warv Dean Muhammad, you name them. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's in the conscious community, I came across, but it was me actually accepting the fact that I didn't know anything to really just put me on that journey.
I been official, big dog in the yard, voted most likely to murder every birthday I start.